Time to start over. This TV wasn't easy to build, you know. Yeah, but we know what we're doing, so we'll do it again. I still couldn't even pull. Oh, shoot. What's going on, y'all? We're trying to fix this TV, if you're wondering. This list right here is the parts sheet. I still don't think we need all that. Yeah, but I'm trying to upgrade it. TV's not working how I thought it would, so it's not working at all right now. Right. But I think I can at least fix it with the stuff that I got here. Most of the mods I made were with scrap anyway, so. Do you even know what broke? Yeah, but let's double check. Yeah, this TV's almost 100% trash now. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to bust it open, but for the most part, the parts do seem right. Okay. I guess that means there's no TV for a little bit though. That might be good for you. What's that supposed to mean? It means your attention is going down. You should start the thing. Oh shoot. What is your favorite story? This could be a show, movie, game, lore. It could even be word of mouth. I think there's something about stories that make them invaluable. Wow, this chair keeps on. I think there's something about stories. Hold on, this chair. I think there's something about stories that make them invaluable to us as people. A story can get two opposing thinkers and give them something to relate to, or equally oppose, or even have a conversation. And I find that to be pretty cool. I think a great story can change your worldview and perspective on almost anything. Maybe showing you a piece of a puzzle you thought you had finished, or even giving you a type of context that finally makes something that could seem unrelated make sense. If that makes sense. And I think that's why our favorite stories are our favorite stories. For some stories, you know the destination or the end of the story first, and some you don't, right? But regardless, I think that the best stories prove that the whole piece of the puzzle, the journey, the destination, the context, the character dynamic, the dominoes falling, all of it couldn't go without. When you really think about it, a story is just things that happened and how it happened. Even fictional stories make it seem like somewhere, sometime, it happened, right? But what it felt like, or looked like, or sounded like, things like that, things that connect you to the story through similes or analogies, all that is up to the storyteller, which in my opinion is the most important part to a story. It's kind of something interesting because you can't have a story without a storyteller, right? Yeah. Or at least something that mimics a storyteller. And for me, I think that's what changes things that actually happened into an actual journey. With the liberties a storyteller can take to convey the story with its well-deserved emotion or tension, with aspects like imagery, color palette, angles, tension, bottlenecks, boundaries, paneling, comedy, fear, language, and a bunch of other stuff that I can't think of right now. And the way they interact with each other sometimes from medium to medium, or maybe just a unique use of those aspects of storytelling stacked on top of each other, I think that they can create very memorable moments. And no kidding, I think one of the most underrated aspects of good storytelling, in my opinion, has got to be So I said, or didn't say earlier. So I said, no, wait, what? So I didn't say silence earlier. That was on purpose. Was it cool? I wanted you to use your brain a little there. When it comes to making a story, I'm not gonna pretend that I know the ins and outs of every little thing, like foreshadowing, red herring, onomatopoeia, flash forward, theme, metaphor, cliffhanger. But something I do know is that a story to me is its best when there's a journey that the character goes through and that there's one that the audience goes to too, you know? I believe a character's journey can show the ends at the beginnings and the beginnings at the end and all that jazz. But a bit of confusion or mystery or anticipation from some aspect of the story in one way or another for the audience to try to figure out on their own or with the character can make whatever I watch, whatever it is, if it's done right, feel like more than just a movie, or what I play feel like more than just a game. Like, have you ever seen Better Call Saul? I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it because the last season, never mind. Something that I love about Better Call Saul is that for the most part, unlike a lot of shows about drugs and crime and stuff like that, the hands doesn't solve all the problems. A problem will arise for a character to solve. Some choose violence, but for the most part, they choose to use their heads. And the way the show kind of pulls you along through the stunts that Jim or Kim or Mike do is so entertaining. At first you think, bro, why is he buying that? And then you think, how is that gonna solve their problem? And then it starts to work because it's a pretty good idea, actually. Very illegal, but it's a pretty good idea. There's a type of creativity that the show has when it comes to solving problems that you don't see often, or at least I don't see often, because yeah, anyway, with characters pulling seemingly random things together, making the viewer curious, and then taking them on a roller coaster to see where they end up. In many shows and movies and games, characters pretty much rely on a reoccurring set of tools, or something given to them earlier that episode. Better Call Saul is a lot more imaginative. There was this time where Saul and Kim bought a whole bunch of letters, envelopes, and pens, hopped on a bus for about 26 hours, it says on Google Maps, paid random people on said bus to write hundreds of letters for him, and then delivered these letters to a random post office in
Coushatta, Louisiana,
to deliver back to New Mexico in order to win this court case that they really couldn't have won by pretending to be various people from his client's hometown. And never did they once say that that was the plan. Being able to pick it up was kind of the fun part. And I think nowadays we are kind of going through this little epidemic of namely movies that say a little too much. It could be the stuff that I just happen to stumble upon, but me personally, I find it pretty entertaining to use my own brain to put things together. Like, I'm a little slow, right? But I've been watching Game of Thrones, and bro, you might need a pen and paper for that show. It's fire though. And it's really fun having to keep track of that type of stuff. I feel like it makes the world more real. There isn't like exposition dumps or lore dumps. You kind of just have to pick it up. You know, they talk to each other like talking to real people, you know? I really like it when a movie doesn't hold my hand through all the complicated parts, or doesn't say all the characters' motivations and future moves before they actually do them. To be honest, I think that that's kind of what good writing is all about. Not that I know anything about writing or directing, but like being able to convey something without actually saying. Planting little seeds everywhere for people to get later. And yeah, we'll talk about it later. The 2018 movie Annihilation, directed by Alex Garland, starring Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac, is about Natalie Portman's character, Lena Double, and a small group of characters tasked with exploring a mysterious biological phenomenon. Looking for her husband and his platoon lost in this place on Earth where seemingly bizarre and inconsistent changes happen to every single thing with a DNA, every living thing. They stumble across so many things that just shouldn't happen in this region that just a few years earlier was completely normal. Just a regular forest that led to a coast with a lighthouse on it. And let me be real, the movie is weird. It's so weird because it was made from a book. But all the answers to the question of what is happening is all mentioned in the book. I mean, in the movie. In a way, at least. Despite me saying the movie's weird, because the movie is weird, I do love this movie. I love the weird ending, the music, the look. But what I love most is the confusion I had while watching it. I'm not gonna pretend I'm a genius or something. Like I see the art in the banana on the wall or something. Nah, I just love being able to try to figure out while the characters were too. What's happening in this region? Why whatever this is spreading? What's at the lighthouse? Where did Moon Knight go? You know? But I guess some people didn't. The movie is weird and confusing, so I wouldn't be mad at anybody who thought the movie was bad because it was intentionally hard to understand. I still don't, and I just like the movie. It's really cool. I really like trying to figure out what was happening in this movie. I like the journey they went on, and that's kind of what I wanted more of. Movies where sometimes they put storytelling over content, or the journey over whether or not they make sure that the audience gets the whole thing. But I can definitely see why that isn't for everybody. To be honest, I actually think that the best storytellers can do a bit of both. Actually, I love Pulp Fiction for this reason. The events of the story in Pulp Fiction are all over the place. It actually starts from the middle of the chronological order of things, and it ends in the middle too. And in between those two middles is the actual end and the actual beginning, and drugs and death and crime and just a whole bunch of shenanigans. But there's also a deeper plot and a series of events that, if you really think about it, if it weren't put in the order that we were shown and was actually in a chronological order, it's actually kind of sad. Still insane, but definitely tragic. New Paddock. I don't think all stories need to have some sort of complicated story that only geniuses can understand. I think being a purely entertaining movie has its merits too. I just see Novocaine and it was cool. But sometimes what I want is somebody to trust that I can see the vision. Isn't that right, Nigo? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trying to fix the TV, bruh. What? What is that? Audie, what is he doing? It looks like you're breaking something to me. It's already broken. I'm trying to unbreak it, actually. Yeah, this is different. Yeah, it's different. There are bullets in the TV, buddy. Does it turn on still? Yeah. You know, I wonder what would happen if I went into it right now. Nah, imagine though. Do we like horror games? If so, what is it that you like about horror games? Is it the tension, the often tragic yet obscure story? Could it even be... Was it not? It wasn't a jump scare. I love horror games. I don't like horror movies though. I hate horror movies. I feel like there's a sort of engagement that you can get from a horror game and movies too that are relatively unique to horror. I feel like horror games, specifically survival horror games, give you a sort of curiosity that uncovering the story while interacting with the world, with that being looting ammo or doing puzzles or looking for batteries, makes whatever the character is going through can give them like a fighting chance. You're not just standing around waiting for something to hit you. Horror is a genre that I love because what's in the dark could be as real as an unhinged doctor, a flesh-eating zombie, or a really tall guy, but it could also be in the character's head. Like psychological horror games dealing with delusions or hallucinations that could end up being as real as the ground the character stands on or the weapons that the character attacks with. And when the two have a mix, you get my favorite game. The blend between the surreal and the actual real can lead to a type of tension and anticipation that I can only get from games like The Evil Within, Outlast 2, or Dead Space 2. And usually the only way to find out what's going on, real or surreal, is to survive. What lies in the dark, in the vent, or behind you could just be that thought in the back of your head. Or the character's head. Or not. And that's why I love the way these games make you think. You don't need to be a genius to imagine what lies in the dark. And you don't have to be a genius to figure out most horror game stories. You just have to stay alive. I think I like horror games because they might have my favorite version of show don't tell. Just don't die. But yeah, like that's the whole thing.